Go Jackets.
What is going on, everyone, and welcome to WreckTalk. So it's Wednesday. It's time to preview our next opponent, which is Wake Forest. Now, if you've been listening to WreckTalk for any length of time, I have a ton of respect for Wake Forest. I have a ton of respect for Dave Clawson, their coach. He was someone I really thought we should have been looking to hire or consider in our coaching search the last time. Unfortunately, they lose Sam Hartman, who's not only the best quarterback they've probably ever had, and I know, Skinner was their quarterback when they won it back in the late 2000s, like 2008. I think Wake Forest won the ACC. I think beat Georgia Tech to win that ACC championship. But not only is Sam Hartman the best quarterback they've ever had, I'm pretty sure the all-time leading ACC passing touchdown guy. So doing a lot of great things at Notre Dame. But look, Wake Forest is a team that overperforms the talent they have. It's no secret that they don't knock down the world recruiting-wise, and I feel like I can say that because neither does Georgia Tech, right? I think these teams are very similar as far as what their program is working with. Certainly, Wake Forest has been way more successful than Georgia Tech in the last 5 years, since we hired, when we had Jeff Collins, right? But they run really a style of offense that is unique to them, specifically with their zone. Like they run like a zone read option without the option part. So we're going to look at it in film. But, it might literally take 2 or 3 seconds to hand the ball off to the running back. And what they do is they let the blocking develop, and then they hand the ball off once the hole is there or whatever. And they've been very effective at doing that. They do have a pretty good running back that's a sophomore. They have a new quarterback, obviously, with Sam Hartman transferring. He's no Sam Hartman, and he's definitely not, as good as Jackson Dart that we saw last week. But he's a decent, serviceable quarterback for them. He's another quarterback like most that if you give him time, he's going to find the open guy, and seems to have a very good grasp of their offense. Now on the Tech side, I looked at as tough as it was the Ole Miss game last week, and really confirmed what I saw on the field being there. I thought our offense did well. I think our offensive line is improving week over week. I think Haynes King deserves all the praises he's getting. Top of the ACC in passing yardage, touchdown, and top 10 nationally as far as his stats. Haynes King has been very, very good for us. Jamal Haynes has been very, very good for us. Held under 100 yards for the first time last week. Travion Cooley's been very good. And the story is, Eric Singleton Jr., a kid that's a true freshman out of Douglasville, Georgia. That's on the west side of Atlanta, going toward Alabama on I-20 West. Stepped up. Eric Singleton Jr. stepped up. Offensively, I'm not worried about Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's going to score points. What this game's going to come down to is what is going to happen with Georgia Tech's defense, because I do think their style of offense is tailored to expose even further our defensive woes with that kind of zone read that they do. Also, only 3 tackles for loss last week. We had coverage issues with getting beat. What is Georgia Tech going to do to shore that up? And I don't feel like I'm saying anything, or I'm not going to say anything in this video that they're probably not talking about or looking at as a coaching staff too. So I am going to be very critical of the Georgia Tech defense, but that's because I think it can improve. So let me switch over to my right screen capture here. So what did I want to show with this? Oh, yeah, the Wake Forest defense. So we've talked about nickel and dime. These defensive sets are really, you're sacrificing a linebacker to have another defensive back or two in your defensive set. So you're kind of taking a risk that you're not going to be as good at stopping the run, but you're going to be much better at stopping the pass because you have more DBs. Now, there's two variants of I don't know why there's like a seam. Anyway, none to worry. There's two variants of a nickel. There's the traditional nickel where you have 4 down linemen and 2 linebackers. You tend to see that more, I think. And then there's another variant that you often hear called a 3-3-5 or like a 3-5 stack, where now you have only 3 down linemen, which Wake will run. They'll run a nickel 3-3-5. They run a lot of different sets, and they like to walk these guys up on the line and move them around and stunt, and you kind of don't know who's coming and who's sitting back in coverage. They'll run kind of a 4-3 look. They'll even run like 3-4 look type stuff. So they do kind of vary things up on defense. So I just wanted to show that here. You see they have 3 down linemen, 3 at the next level, and then you'll have 5 right defensive backs. So I think they do a good job here stopping the run, pursuing to the ball well. Yeah. Now I think they do throw for a touchdown here. Yeah, so let's go back. And from what I remember, Wake was in like a cover 3 here. So they have 3. Cover 3 is when you're basically splitting that secondary into thirds. And each man, the corner, the single safety high, and the other corner, their responsibility is that third of the field. So if I'm the corner up high here, his responsibility is that third of the field. You can almost think of it in terms of like the hashes. So from here over is his responsibility, and then in between these hashes is that single safety's highs coverage responsibility, and then this hash over is the other one. And here's the thing: when you're playing zone coverage like that, as a safety or cornerback, number one thing is you can't let the ball get behind you. So that's what happens. He doesn't have a ton of time, but they just get beat over the top. And that's why I'm saying Georgia Tech is going to be able to throw for yards against them. And look, I'm just picking a few plays, but really Old Dominion was able to keep it close in this game because of Wake Forest made some mistakes on offense. So here, they should go up 14-0 probably, or at least 10-0. And Wake brings a ton of pressure. Now, also in their defensive front, and this is something I'd like to see Georgia Tech do more of. Man, that is annoying. Why is there a seam? Oh, me. I can fix it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not going to re-record either. I'm just not doing it. All right. So I'm not going to say they do gimmicky things on defense, but like I said, they do vary it up. And they do a good job of kind of bringing pressure with imbalance. So look, they're going to move their linebackers and then blitz off here and get a lot of pressure. And this quarterback makes a great read to dump it off. Should be a big completion. And this ball is actually dropped and taken back almost for a pick 6. So Old Dominion with a mistake there. So let's look at the Wake offense. So let's look at this weird way they like to run the football. This one doesn't take super long to hand the ball off, but this running back is good. There's a missed tackle. That's another issue with the Georgia Tech defense. Ton of missed tackles. That's got to be much improved, or this running back Wake will run for 250 yards or 300 yards on us if we can't shore some of that up. Now, as you can see here, Really clear example of that 3-3-5. Old Dominion's also running it 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. That's your 3-3-5 variant of the nickel. Look how long this ball takes. I mean, the quarterback literally walks with them. They let the blocking develop, and then the running back will take the ball. And they get a big run on that. And that's what I'm saying is, like, because we're prone to getting stood up on the defensive line, this is really tailored for that. So we're going to, as a defensive front, and I'm including linebackers in that, we're going to look at our linebackers really did not play well at all against Ole Miss. We're going to have to get our pad level lower, and we're going to have to get into the backfield. You can't just get stood up and look around and think you're going to make a play on the ball. All right. Here's another. I mean, they will play action off of it too. And this is where, how do you counteract this? Well, getting in the backfield and get a ton of pressure on the quarterback. If they don't have time to take 3 seconds for this play fake, then they can't get the pass off, right? So we're going to have to bring pressure, and we're going to have to get pressure with our down 4. So look how long this takes. And they get beat. I'll tell you this. If you let them take that long to get a play fake off, it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to cover. And they do throw it over the top. That's something, and we're going to look at that too, where our secondary didn't play very well at all last week either. Now, they'll also do more of a traditional zone read. So here, they don't take time for the handoff. Quarterback pulls it. And see how all of this plays off of each other. This is a good offensive coordinator and a good offensive scheme. All your plays play off one another. So they get used to you doing this, handing it off to the back and taking a while and letting the block develop. Okay, now they're all crashing down inside on that. Quarterback pulls it and gets the edge. They just sell out on coming up field to block the run, play action over the top. All right, now here, I bring this up because, like I said, this is how you counteract this. If you can get pressure on this quarterback, and we're going to have to be creative as how we get pressure, and I mentioned doing it in an imbalanced way. Well, what do I mean? Shifting the line and rotating like your backers down and getting pressure off the edge where they just don't have enough blockers to block it. So you're almost, I hate to say guaranteed to get to the quarterback or get pressure on the quarterback, but it's close to that. So I think we're going to have to get creative. Now, this guy comes through completely untouched on the next play. And when you have a guy coming up the middle completely untouched, as a quarterback, you've got to eat this. You just got to eat the sack. A sack is definitely better than throwing a pick, which is what ends up happening. I mean, look at how quick he gets back there. He just throws a duck up for grabs, and they end up taking this all the way back. So instead of just having a negative play, a 10-yard sack or a 6-yard sack, now Old Dominion picks the ball off, gets points off of it. I feel like the same thing here. Yep. Now, he actually did have some time here. This was a coverage thing. They stunt here, so we've talked about stunting. So this end comes down. And, or not the end, the tackle. The tackle and the end swap positions. And this lineman doesn't do a good job at rubbing off and picking him up. Actually, they do with the running back, it looked like, but throws it up for grabs again. Another interception. So you can be disruptive, If you're able to get pressure and get into the backfield, you can disrupt this Wake Forest offense, which is what we're going to have to do. Unfortunately, I think we only have 1 sack on the year, and our defensive line play has not been very good. Now, here's why I say Wake is kind of tailored to this defensive weakness. So look here. The big thing here, obviously, we're getting blocked on the front. This is Trinelius Tatum. He's completely taken out of the play. And this running back isn't even going to be touched. Look at it again. If we're just not able to get into the backfield with our defensive front, then you at least have to have your linebackers filling in. And we just don't do that. I mean, Paul Mola follows him out. He's taken out of the play. Tatum is just blocked out. And then even in our secondary, we're caught out of position. Similar here, where Tatum just screams upfield and the running back cuts. Now, you would think, right, between these two guys, we're going to be able to make the tackle, but we just get way out of position. Miss a tackle, touchdown. Easy. Our defensive stats are some of the worst in the nation. I mean, we're above 100 ranked in about every defensive stat. We're like dead last in sacks, pressures, tackles for loss. And it's surprising. I do think Marco Coleman is a very good defensive line coach. And whatever we need to do to improve that, we're going to have to do. Now here, Dart has time. We're not able to get pressure until late. And I think here we're in cover 3-2. No, it looks, this is kind of a cover 2 look with 2 safeties high. And we're even bailing. I mean, we're playing way off. So it's not like we're getting beat on the line of scrimmage as far as coverage. And as good as Brooks is, he just lets this guy beat him, get him inside and on the corner. Cannot let this happen. So, with that being said, what are the keys to victory Saturday? And I am really concerned about this game. This is a absolute must-win for Georgia Tech as far as making a bowl, progressing as a program, improving. There's really one key to victory for this game, and it's that you have got to find a way to be disruptive on defense, your defensive front and your linebackers. If, let's say, someone could transmit me the stats from the game now, I could probably look at the stats. How many tackles do our linebackers have? How many tackles for loss do we have? That will probably determine it. If they're able to run their offense on time and take forever to hand the ball off and can take 4 seconds for a play fake, we're going to get beat, and we actually could get beat pretty handedly. Now, I do think talent-wise we match up much better with Wake Forest than Louisville or Ole Miss. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens between Ole Miss and Alabama this Saturday. I don't know who Louisville plays. They have a weaker schedule, so I'd have to look at the next time they play, a quality opponent. And that's not a dig at Wake Forest at all. Wake Forest is a quality opponent, and that's why I'm worried about this game. But we're going to have to get to the quarterback, and our linebackers are going to have to be very disciplined and fill the gaps, just infinitely better than we have up to this point in the season. As well as special teams. Like, we can't get a blocked kick, we can't have a blocked punt, and we've come very close many times this season to that. But I do think we can progress on the front. Or I also think it's possible that we still don't play well on defense, but our offense is able to kind of make up for that in points. It's going to have to be one of those two, though. You can't, sputter out on offense. We can't leave points on the board, things like this. So I do think this week we are able to get back on track. I do think that we have the ability to get a win in Winston-Salem, come back home and get a little bit of a breather against Bowling Green. But like I said, I think this team is tailored to again take advantage of these defensive woes on the front and at linebacker. So let me know what you guys think. How are you guys feeling going into this Wake Forest game, staying on the road at Winston-Salem? Do you think we can improve on defense and be somewhat disruptive in Winston-Salem? Do you think our offense continues to improve, offensive line, Haynes King, etc.? Let me know in the comments section. And look, this video won't be monetized, so any donations, Cash App, PayPal, all that stuff is in the description of the video. Y'all have a good one, and I'll talk to you soon.